Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at this rather interesting piece of what I guess is industrial control equipment. Saw this on eBay a little while ago and kind of piqued my interest because it has all of these ports on it, so clearly there must be some sort of a computer in here. This is an MBP C300 chassis, and it's supposed to accommodate an Advantech 9579F EBX form factor single board computer. And well, not only that, but there was a couple of other things that were very interesting about this unit. One, when you look up the manual for the 9579, it only has one video output, and yet there's two of them. The other thing is, well, when you look at this side, what's all this? 4 B and C style ports labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think the other one is in there, it's just broken. And then when you look inside here, there is a hard drive, and if you look further down inside, I just had a little peek through this window here. I haven't opened this up yet, but there's quite a lot going on in there. And of course we have a DC power input down here, and that's pretty much it for the ports. There are some additional cutouts. Clearly this thing has had a very long and rough life. It's very rusty up here at the top. It's got all sorts of scuffs all around the sides, so no idea what's really in here and no idea if this thing even works. And it's already missing some of the screws. I didn't take these out, so someone has clearly been inside this unit before or just didn't put all the screws back in it when they were done. So I'd like to open this up, see what's inside, and see if we can get this computer to still boot. There's a hard drive in here, which may be interesting because maybe some of the original software is still on this machine. So let's go ahead and crack this open, see if we can figure out what's going on with this particular unit, and see if we can do something interesting with it. So let's get right to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and remove these 4 screws that are at the top. There should be 8 up here, but no, it's just not that many of them left. So we'll go ahead and crack these off. Let's see if that will release these panels on top. All right, 4 screws at the top removed, so I'm not really sure how this is supposed to come apart. So, okay, well, that's already moving. And, whew, all right. Well, that is quite a mess in there. That has got a lot of black gunk going around. So, well, I think the next thing to do is to just keep tearing this apart. Here we have the 44-pin 2.5-inch IDE connector here for the hard drive. And here we can see these 2 VGA cables. One of them is just a ribbon, and the other one is this bundle of wires, and there's what appears to be a couple of PC104 expansion modules in there. So that's pretty interesting. I actually dug out a couple of examples of that. So this is one of the PC104 modules that I have acquired in the past. This looks like a quad serial board, also made by Advantech. So they're a prolific manufacturer of industrial control boards, all sorts of small form factor PC motherboards. In fact, I have another example of what one of those looks like here. So this is an Advantech 6145. It's a 486 board. As you can see, it interfaces with ISA here, and so this would slot into a backplane that had multiple ISA slots, and then it also has this PC104 connector on there. And so your PC104 module would just stack right on top of the motherboard here and connect in, and then you have an entire integrated unit. And then there's really no reason that you even have to use this card in a backplane if you were to just stack enough modules on top. You can supply power directly to these boards through this Burge connector here, a floppy style power connector. And this one even has a VGA, serial, Ethernet, and a PS2 port. So that's pretty cool. But let's try to dig into this board a little bit more, this computer here, and see what we can figure out. So I'm just going to start by, I guess let's free these panels here. So I think the best bet for that is to disconnect these. So we'll go ahead and unscrew these two VGA connectors. Oh, looks like the nuts are turning on now. I'm already getting that black gunk all over my hands. I'm going to get some pliers. Okay, so I have the two VGA ports free. Unfortunately, the riser screws kind of snapped off on this plug here, but it doesn't look like it would be too difficult to either drill that out or just replace this connector. It is pretty rusty already. And the fan looks like it's just connected over here. So I'll go ahead and get that disconnected. The fan does spin freely, so there's a chance this fan still works, but I don't know. I think this one is just going to go to e-waste. This fan has seen some better days. And then if we get the hard drive disconnected, okay, there we go. So now we have these two top panels free. We'll set that aside. So now we can get a better look inside the unit itself. And it's a mess of cables and I don't know, whatever this black gunk is. I'm assuming it's some sort of I don't know, dust mixed with oil, whatever you find in a machine shop, I would imagine. So let's see if we can continue getting this thing apart. And here you can actually kind of see these are our two PC104 modules. So they are just stacked right there on the motherboard. And it actually looks like these are the PCI or PC104 Plus variant. So that's a slightly different standard, and I think I have an example of what that looks like. And I almost wonder if this is one of the cards that are in here, but this is an example of a PC104 VGA card. So you can see it has the VGA connector here on the end. It has the standard ISA PC104, but it also has the PCI version here. And yeah, I do kind of wonder what this additional socket is on here. That's not too uncommon for those to accommodate one of these disk-on-chip modules, which effectively just emulates an entire IDE controller and hard drive right on a single chip. So I'm not sure if that's for an additional kind of BIOS option ROM or if it's for one of these disk-on-chip modules, but yeah, that's kind of what those look like. I wonder if that's kind of the same thing that's inside here. So I think the next thing to do is to, and it looks like this case will come apart with some doing, but one of the interesting things that I also noticed is that not all of the metal is of the same type. So we have this, I guess, powder coated or, you know, painted metal here, but then on each of the sides there's this an additional strip of aluminum or steel, some sort of a metal, where it looks like they've made this case taller or bigger by just adding these additional metal pieces all along the edge. So that's kind of interesting, is that the original case would have only been this tall, but they've made it a good bit taller here. So it looks like this has been, you know, kind of bent and machined to be that way. So someone at least went through a good bit of effort to customize this case. So let's see if we can go ahead and start getting this apart. I'm just going to go ahead and start removing all of the screws from the sides and see if that gets this a little bit further apart. Okay, here's one of those pieces of metal. Not really anything interesting about that, but we can start to get a better look at our motherboard here. And as far as I'm aware, this motherboard comes in three main variants, one of them running a 400 megahertz Celeron, a 650 megahertz Celeron, all the way up to a Pentium 3 933. But the way that the manual indicates for this motherboard is that the Pentium 3 would likely have a heatsink and a fan. So I'm not seeing a fan here, so we likely have either the 400 or the 650 Celeron. So let's see, go ahead and move over to this other side and let's see if we can remove this board and Yeah, there's our broken additional BNC jack there. Of course, the nasty, nasty electrical tape there. And hands are just getting absolutely filthy. So let's keep going. So. Okay, so there's that. And interestingly, so if anyone has been following, and I certainly have, Catho Ray Dude's small guy, or little guy series, sorry, I wouldn't have really known what this might have been used for, but I have a good hunch that what this is a computer designed to look at various cameras on an assembly line and to do kind of process control. So these would take, you know, probably composite video, probably black and white, but relatively high speed so that the computer can check at each stage of an assembly line, does the image look, you know, reasonably correct? You know, are the labels facing the right way? Is the container filled up all of the way? So I have a good idea that that's what that's about, and that probably connects to one of those PC104 modules inside. But yeah, this doesn't really get us any further apart yet. Put that off to the side. So let's see, I bet if I cut some of these zip ties, that'll start releasing some of these cables. Go ahead and cut this one here. And yeah, so that starts getting things a little bit more out of the way. And wow, look at that. So all 4 of these serial ports at the front run over a single ribbon cable. So that's interesting. That might actually run down to, yeah, it looks like it runs down to the motherboard itself. So that's very interesting that this board has 4 onboard serial ports. That's pretty useful. Wonder if they were using all of those. So and here's a power connector that looks like it runs down to the input here, but just terminates into kind of your standard 4-pin Molex connector. Let's see if we can get those apart. And this. Okay, that is pretty well together. I might have to pull that apart with some pliers, but it terminates here on a connector here on the motherboard. So let's see. I have to start removing some of these cables to try and get better access. So yeah, let's see. We'll remove this parallel port connector, and interestingly, this looks like it uses that same kind of pin spacing that you would typically find on a laptop hard drive. So I believe this is 2mm spacing. So that's kind of interesting. It looks like they've used a good bit of these type of connectors to save space on the board. But yeah, let's see if we can go ahead and get this parallel port removed. Ooh, yeah, that is not sounding good. These risers here are very crusty, ready to break. Ooh, yep. Okay, yeah, there's another one that just sheared right off. So I wonder what that's about. Maybe someone over-torqued them when they were putting them in, or it's just the corrosion of time that is kind of eating away at those. But we have our parallel port removed, so that starts getting a little bit tidier. And I guess we'll go ahead and remove this IDE connector here. Cool. Yeah, so you don't see very many of these because typically a laptop hard drive would just be inside a laptop and not used in a desktop kind of a form factor here. But yeah, there's our 44-pin IDE cable. Okay, so that's starting to free up a little bit. I'll remove this serial connector. All right, so that gets us a little bit further into the machine for sure. So yeah, let's see. Looks like we have some USB ports, and then a good bit of the cabling runs over to this thing over here, but it looks like when they extended the height, it's kind of putting some tension on this cable, and that's not really great. But yeah, let's see if we can keep getting this thing apart. Not really sure the best way to attack this other than continue taking out all of the screws. So I suppose we'll do that. So I'm going to remove all of these screws from the side and just any other screws I can find, and let's see how far that gets us. Okay, well that's all the screws removed from the side, but kind of all we accomplished was getting these mounting brackets off. I suppose it's time to take a look at this from the bottom, but let's see what falls out. So there's our busted riser screws from that VGA port on the top. Okay, so let's see here. We have a number of screws here on the bottom, so we'll go ahead and get those out. Okay, it does feel like it's, all right, it is. It's definitely coming apart in some capacity now. So let's see, okay. Yeah, so that's being pulled by that connector. So let's see if we can go ahead and disconnect some more of this cabling on the inside here. So unplug these USB ports. And these are almost certainly just USB 1.0 or 1.1. I would doubt these are USB 2.0. And we'll disconnect this cable here. Okay, so that's starting to come apart. All right, there we go. So yeah, this is our panel here with all of the serial ports on it. And go ahead and set that aside. And definitely getting a better view of the computer inside here now. So let's see if we can move some of that out of the way. All right, so yeah, it looks like we have some sort of a PCI capture board, I'm guessing. It looks like it takes the 4 BNC jacks here. There's a number of extra conductors on this, though. I wouldn't imagine you need, I don't know, however many that is, 34, 40, I'm not really sure, but definitely more than you would need for four video inputs. And looks like there's another board below it that may be our VGA board, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, let's see, I bet this panel is about ready to come off as well. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, there's another cable here. And another cable here. Okay, so that has a number of things, and it looks like this actually has an Advantech part label on there. So this is our Ethernet 2 PS2 ports, mouse and keyboard, and a selection of audio ports, speaker, line in, microphone, that sort of thing. So we'll set that aside. I do hope we can kind of save this board. The Ethernet port, it's a little bit worse for wear over here. It looks like it has some bugs or crusties on the inside there. But yeah, so let's go ahead and set that panel aside as well. And it gives us really good view of the actual kind of computer chassis here. So it looks like the motherboard is bolted down at several points. So yeah, let's see, what else can we remove? We can disconnect this VGA cable here, but I might leave that in just so I know where it goes. And looks like we have our power input. And yeah, so I suppose the next thing to do is start pulling off these PC104 modules and see what's going on there. Well, looks like they're just held on at each corner. Go ahead and remove this screw. Okay, it's not really a long screw, so it must be kind of cinched down at a few other points. I'll go ahead and remove this one. And let's see if that releases this. Okay, I want to break it. Just kind of wiggle this up a little bit, and hopefully this will pop off. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so this is an interesting one because this is a PC104 module, but it appears to only have the PCI connection. And yeah, it's got a number of what I assume are FPGA chips, 2 analog devices, probably for the analog to digital conversion, and some additional spaces where there could have been some more functionality. And I'm not really sure what this selector here is for, but oh, we can actually see This is a MOR plus 2VD. Yeah, not a lot of helpful information there. Matrox. Okay, well that makes sense. Kind of a prolific manufacturer of, you know, various devices there. So, yeah, that's all very interesting. Okay, well we'll set that one aside for the moment. And yeah, now we have our VGA controller. So that's kind of interesting because it has some extra ports on here. I wonder what those are for. Possibly this can be set up to drive a flat panel display over LVDS or one of those similar protocols, like directly from this particular board. So that's kind of interesting. But let's see, this connector should come right out. So there we go. There's our VGA cord to our second module here. And yeah, so this one does have the ISA PC104 connector here and then the PCI connector there. But yeah, it's not really easy to tell which one of these is in play, although I see a bunch of traces running from this chips chip to our PCI port here. So I'm thinking neither one of these modules actually utilize the ISA bus. It's just kind of there for backwards compatibility. And I don't know, let's see, do these unscrew? How is this put together? Okay, there we go. So just two kind of nylon threaded screws there, and then we should be able to get this module off as well. But man, is it ever on there? Ooh, okay. Let's see if we can rock this up slowly. I don't want to break it, but I would like to get this thing disassembled. Okay, it's slowly coming up. And there might be a better way to do this, but I'm not sure what that is. Okay, there we go. So there is our VGA card, presumably. It's removed. So there you can see it does have the PCI connector there and the ISA side over there. And that's a good bit different than the other one of these that I have, but at the same time, pretty similar. Both chips chip. Wonder which one's newer, which one's older. Not really an easy way to tell, but I don't know, maybe we can find out if this actually does work. So that reveals our motherboard. Look at that. So an entire computer, tons of connectivity. PC104, PCI. I looked up in the manual and it does seem to indicate that this is a disk-on-chip slot, so our little disk-on-chip module could go there if we were using one. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I was kind of hoping I would be able to find the actual model number, because the model number would indicate which CPU variant we have. But yeah, let's see. We might go ahead and just start taking this off a little bit further, kind of seeing what we have. I could probably release this heatsink clip over here, but I don't want to damage the processor unless we really have to. So let's see if we can go ahead and get this off of the bottom plate. Okay, it looks like these risers are still holding this on. These are really rusty. Okay, came out, and that one came out. So let's see, I think this should be free now. Ah, there we go. Okay, oh, look at that. It's a tidy little board. Looks like there's a compact flash slot here on the bottom, so this really has a ton of options. You could boot from disk-on module, you could boot from compact flash. Looks like it has even a full-size IDE port. And yeah, I heard that this even has a floppy connector. Unfortunately, I think the floppy connector is one of these 2.0 pitch cables here. So Yeah, you'd need a pretty special cable to go from a 2.0 pitch to a 2.54 that a standard PC floppy drive would use. And besides for the board being filthy, I'm not really seeing anything in the way of capacitor damage or anything that looks burnt out. So hoping that if we clean this up a little bit, this may actually fire right up. And yeah, still no definitive model number. This PCM-9579, that's the kind of the series that these are in, but looking for one of a few different kind of subcodes there to be able to tell which CPU is in this board. So you would think that would be a little bit more evident, but I don't really see any other clear markings. All right, so let's see if we can go ahead and get this bundle free now that we have a little more space to work with. And man, that is on there. Did someone glue that? Okay. Go ahead and disconnect it from the board here. And that is really on there too. Okay. There's our board free. Let's set that aside for a second. And yeah, this would be really helpful to be able to reuse this cable. But man, I'm gonna have to get a setup. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So it looks like this is just for the chassis, and they used an entire one of these just to provide power to the fan, which is kind of silly because I know there's a fan header on this board. So not really sure what the line of thinking there was. And kind of used these isolating caps on each of these standoffs, which is also kind of interesting. But you can see how filthy this is, and you can see how filthy my hands are just after taking apart this computer. And computers really aren't supposed to be this filthy on the inside. But we'll set this aside, and we'll take a closer look at our motherboard here. So, interesting thing about this is, and actually I kind of wish there wasn't this compact flash slot on the bottom, because you know, it doesn't really sit down on the desk very evenly, as you can see. But you know, it looks like we have 256 megs of PC 133 RAM, so that's pretty nice. The manual indicates that this could go up to 512, so if I find one of those, I'll slap that in there. But yeah, Advantech Embedded Software IP Library. I have no idea what that means. All right. So I think the next thing to do is wash my hands, clean this board up a bit, and see if we can breathe life back into it. See if it actually boots up and does anything. So, be back, and we're back. So I think this cleaned up actually rather nicely. Cleaned it up in the sink, used a little bit of alcohol on it, let it dry out for a while, and I think it turned out pretty well. There's still a few little spots of kind of discoloration on the board, but I don't think that's going to affect things that much. Still no closer to figuring out which CPU variant this model is. I've looked all over this board and I can't find anything other than the main 9579 model number there, so still not really sure which one this is, but hopefully if we can turn it on and get it posting at least, we'll be able to figure that out. Cleaned up all of the cables too, just a little bit of Windex and some paper towel, a little bit of brushing, and most of it cleaned up rather well. So that's really great news. So I don't know, let's at least get enough components connected back together to see if it posts. I think first we'll go ahead and connect power, we'll get a new CMOS battery in here, and reconnect our VGA, and well, just see what this thing does. Okay, and we'll go ahead and get our power hooked back up, just kind of a standard Molex on one side, not standard Molex on the other. Looks like they split out the two 5-volt wires. Not really sure what the purpose of that was, but yeah, let's go ahead and get that reconnected. And yeah, that compact flash slot on the bottom really makes this kind of cattywampus, but Anyways, we'll go ahead and get our memory back installed. There we go. So now we just need to connect our VGA wire. So there we go, our little VGA header, and that connects right here. And it's kind of interesting that there's no ports anywhere on this entire board. And that's very interesting because it kind of gives you a lot of options for how you want to construct the case or what ports you want to offer to the individual application that you're building. And okay, so we'll go ahead and get a new CMOS battery in there. There we go. And I think that should be enough to at least see if this thing posts at all when we turn it on. So let's go ahead and get a monitor connected and we'll see. So for testing the power input, and it's a little bit weird, but I'm going to use one of these Pico ATX power supplies. And you can ignore all this extra cord on the end. That's just an adapter to go from ATX to AT style power connector, but has a little power switch on here. So that'll make turning this on and off really easy. And we'll just go ahead and connect our power here. Okay, so VGA monitor is out. It's you know, it's got to be free if it's a Hans G. I don't really know. Got this monitor for free a long time ago, and all right. So we'll go ahead and hook up our VGA. This connector's still a little bit crusty, but I can rewire that if I really need to replace the connector. And well, I think that's it. We have RAM, CPU you can't take out, and BIOS battery, VGA. That should be enough to at least see if it activates. So let's go ahead and flip the power switch. Oh, it beeped. Light came on. Okay, it's doing something. It's definitely doing something. Okay, okay. All right. Can't boot, no disk connected, but hey, look at that. It's the 650 Celeron. So right in the middle there, and hey, that should be pretty useful. And of course, some additional device listings here, but all right, it is actually posting, so that means that this thing still has the potential to work. That's pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip the power back off, and let's go ahead and see if we can connect a keyboard and mouse. I went ahead and labeled this with a K and M, just based off of the case. It's lying around here somewhere, but yeah, we'll go ahead and get this connected back up. I don't have to hook up all of the wires. It's kind of in sections here. So this ribbon is for the Ethernet, this one is for the two PS2 ports, and this header right here is for the audio, but we'll only use the keyboard and mouse for now. So I'll go ahead and connect that up here to this motherboard. And yep, connect that right here. So there we go, there's our keyboard and mouse. And yeah, let's go for broke, and we'll go ahead and hook this hard drive back up. So one of these ends goes to the drive. I'm guessing it's this one that's keyed, and this one's not keyed, but okay, yeah, so right here is pin 1. I guess that makes sense. So we'll go ahead and connect this back up to the board. And interestingly, the hard drive seems relatively modern. It's a 60 gigabyte drive, which is pretty sizable. And there's even a date on here. It says ASCOM 6/27/2011. Ready. Ready for what? I'm not really sure, but hopefully it's ready for a boot up. So we'll go ahead and get our hard drive connected again, the same ribbon. And yeah, it's definitely a little bit interesting messing with laptop IDE drives with a ribbon cable. So we'll go ahead and put that on there. Okay, keyboard and mouse are connected right here on this little daughter board situation. So let's see, we have keyboard, mouse, we have video, hard drive, RAM. I think we have most everything we need to give this thing a first power on. Let's see what it does. So I'll go ahead and flip the power switch. And it took a couple of seconds to beep. Hard drive spun up, beep. Okay. So it's definitely doing something. I'm gonna hit the break key and just see. Oh, looks like we interrupted Windows there. Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's booting into Windows 2000. Who knew? Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, so let's see if this boots up, what it does. Very interesting, Windows 2000. Adjusting, as one does. Okay, auto boot. Huh. Alright, looks like it logged, okay. Okay. NCT, Orlando International Airport? Alright, so looks like my first guess of this being out of some sort of a factory wasn't exactly right, but this is, oh, I see we're panning. Okay. So this is trying to run a different resolution than we're running right now on the monitor. I wonder if we can change that. Let's see what's going on here. International Airport. Error reader problem. Yeah, I imagine any peripherals this thing is trying to connect to, it's not going to be able to find. Printer error. Keep trying to scroll this screen. That is not how that works. Reader unjam. I wonder if this is parking. Like for a parking garage? This is pretty interesting. Okay, so yeah. Let's see what there's not much we can do here. Shift deposit. What does that do? Can't really click any of these buttons. Supervisor end? Operator. Wait, it was saying, was it saying an operator number on the previous screen? Can we put that in? Number 52. I doubt that's the operator number. Oh, operator 295. Okay, let's see. Supervisor end 295. Enter. Oh, uh-oh. I am unauthorized. My access has been denied. Okay. So this is pretty interesting. I wonder if we can Alt-Tab. Doesn't appear to. I'm assuming this has replaced the normal Windows shell because we don't see that, but let's see. Oh, Task Manager, okay. So, yeah. All right, well, we see the 256 megs of RAM. We have a 1-core CPU, I guess. That totally makes sense. Applications, okay. CT Watchdog CT interface. And, if memory serves me, that's the Visual Basic or Visual Studio default icon there. So, yeah, that's probably how they designed this interface. Nothing too spicy here. But let's see if we can run Explorer. Looks like someone ran Command Prompt previously. What else have we run? Control and Explorer. Yeah, let's give that a try. Oh, look at that. Okay. Yeah, this panning thing is super annoying. Can we minimize? All right. So if we go to my computer, oh wow. So out of that 60 gig hard drive, only 1.7 gigabytes are used? Why would they put such a big hard drive in here? Okay. That's pretty interesting. I wonder if we can find anything on the drive. Okay, it looks like we have a shared folder, CT data, bunch of .map files. I wonder if we can open one of these. 32 kilobytes, 48 bytes. Let's see. Can we open this with Notepad? Oh no, that's obviously some binary type file. 7 megabytes. Yeah, I was hoping some of this might be just plain text configuration, but it doesn't appear to be. But CT, whatever this program is, CT Shift, CT, that seems to be what it is. Looks like there's CT setup. What's that? Okay. VB test, Visual Basic Test. Okay, well, oh, okay, send, uh-oh. Detail? Mail slot. I have no idea what this is. It looks like there's a few interesting applications. Oh, I think it spit out a file here. VB Spy? I wonder what all of this is for. Rate edit. Ooh, okay. Password. I bet I could find that password in one of these config files. Oh, all right. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? We have an ASCOM folder, so that makes sense because it says ASCOM, so that must be the manufacturer or whoever the provider is. Reader test. Multi-park reader test, okay. Oh, yes, 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 no, okay, yes, okay, no. All right, oof, all right. So whatever that file is, it does not want to open, but help. Okay, connecting to the reader to the host PC. To cells. Huh. This is very interesting. It's RJ12. Huh. This is all very interesting. Drivers. Looks like some Intel Pro set drivers. Card bus. Could be more. Yeah, this looks like more Intel drivers. Okay. What else do we have? We have a WinNT folder. Okay, this looks like this is just your standard Windows 2000 install. And then a separate WinNT 2000 folder. Okay, bill acceptor. What is this? Okay, look at that. It's, okay, so this machine must have taken, this must be for a parking garage. Let's exit the setup there. Let's see what else do we have going on. Additional disks, okay. Bill dispenser. Test. Whoa, all right, here we go. Old school kind of DOS application. Not sure what this does. And now, okay. Let's do COM board, I/O board, touch screen. Okay, so this must have had a touch screen connected to it. It's very interesting. Probably for the operator. It's probably why these buttons are so large here on this interface, is that it was designed to be used with a touchscreen. So I guess that makes sense. Drivers, HCT. What is HCT? Program group. Okay, that must not be an actual group file. Man, there is a lot of weird stuff in here. I am definitely going to have to explore this a little bit more, see if I can find the drivers for those PC104 cards, and yeah, okay, let's see. Camera 4. Oh, this is an application. What a parking automation. What does this do? This doesn't appear to do anything. Huh. Okay. Very, very interesting. Let's see, what do we have in program files? S3s, that's probably, looks like they had real VNC, ELO, touchscreen, COM Plus applications. Huh. CT load. Lane load. Yeah, this has got a lot of interesting stuff on it, but well, hey, the computer is working, and wow, that is barely even warm to the touch. Yeah, this thing runs really, really cool. I I know we're not putting it under a whole lot of load right now, but hey, this thing works. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and kill the power, and we're going to put those PC104 cards back on and see if there's anything coming out of that other VGA port. Okay, so here we have our VGA card. I'm guessing it's a chips chip. They normally are some sort of a graphics adapter, and yeah, I'm not really sure, but yeah, let's see if we can get this connected back to the machine. We'll give this one a test. So we'll connect it like so. Okay, there we go. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's a nice low profile right there. So assuming we don't need all of this other stuff, that could actually be a pretty little compact system with 2 VGA outs. But yeah, let's see if it still works. And I don't really have a good way to hook up 2 monitors at the same time right now. But yeah, that is really in there. Come on. All right. So that's our main VGA. Let's see if I just push that on there a little bit. So I'll go ahead and turn it back on, see if it still boots up. Hard drive spun up, beep. Okay. Uh-oh. Maybe that has to be it all the way. Okay, that's interesting. Hard drive's clicking away, but our VGA stopped working. So I wonder, oh, that is so difficult to remove. That's probably all that corrosion. This could do with a little bit of deoxit, I bet. So let's try this one. Nothing. Okay. So maybe if we give it a minute to fully boot up. Okay. Yeah, it's not, I don't know, I'm killing the power again. Let's see, I'm gonna reconnect, kind of had that not plugged in all the way, but I'm gonna pop a little bit of deoxit in there. Okay, get this in the connector. All right, just a little bit so it's not going everywhere. Hopefully that makes this a little bit easier to get in and out. Not really, but nothing else. Make the electrical connection better. Okay, so I've reconnected the VGA. We still have our PC104 module in. Let's see if it's still posting on the internal connection. No. That's pretty interesting. So is this one taking over from the main interface? That's kind of interesting. All right, I'm gonna disconnect the hard drive just so we're not booting up unnecessarily on that. And let's see, does this make any difference? Turn it on again. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. This it seems to be taking over from the main interface. Let's see if we get a post on this adapter. Go ahead and reconnect here. And all right, let's see if this does anything. Oh, okay. There we go. This looks much cleaner than the other display. The other interface had a lot of noise on the cable. So yeah, let's see if we can get into the BIOS. Just hammering that delete key. Let's see if that does it. Oh, there we go. So, okay, so award BIOS. No drives, okay. Second boot device. I'm seeing if there's anything related to the display in here. Oh, okay, so here we go. TFT Sure, let's 1024 by 768. Let's try that. And okay, so that's interesting. The this PCI, even though it's I think the onboard display is actually AGP, but this one's PCI. But I'm interested to see if this affects that interface in any way. So let's turn this back off and reconnect hard drive. Okay, let's see if this does anything. Okay, the display came on. That's good. Okay, looks like Windows has detected it and using it. Ah, there we go. And yeah, this looks much cleaner. The onboard VGA was very dirty. I wonder if that's just something wrong with the cable, or potentially maybe some damage, or yeah, maybe it's just always been like that. These embedded little computers don't always have the best display output, because it's just not always needed. Okay, we have a mouse. Okay, it's doing that auto boot again. Okay, well, all right, at least we have, oh, okay, found, okay. I can't imagine needing drivers for the hardware this thing came with, but, let's, oh, okay. Oh, wow, so here's some of the paths. All right. Chips and technologies. Yeah, S3. Oh, okay, so maybe that's what that S3 folder was for. Let's see if we can find that. There was drivers? No. Where was that? Huh, there was. I thought I saw it S3. Here we go. Twister. No, okay, I guess there's... All right, so whatever file it's looking for here, I'm not sure that we have it, but that's okay. I mean, it is working. So, all right, well, not a huge difference here, but the display is a good bit cleaner. So we know for sure our second graphics adapter here works. But I'm hoping that both of these can work in parallel, because that would be very interesting. Yeah, but I think that probably ends it here. I mean, the computer works. Fortunately, I just have no way to test this this camera board, or what this even does in the software. I'm imagining you have to log in or get to some further screen in here. But I'll probably poke around the software a little bit to see if there's any more of those Visual Basic applications, see if any of that works, and see if I can find the drivers for this. Maybe we'll load a different operating system on this board. I have some pretty cool ideas for this board. I want both of the VGA interfaces working for that. But yeah, it's a pretty cool little board. And was able to clean up the case here a good bit, so you know, I'm not sure that I'll put this back together. Maybe I'll paint the case, but it cleaned up okay. There's still some pretty bad rust bits, especially here on the top where this fan was. Imagine this was pulling in some sort of a moisture all the time. But yeah, so I think one last thing that I did find interesting about this board is that it's what's known as an EBX form factor. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off, because there's a comparison that I'd like to do here and find out if that claim is really what it shakes out to be. So let's get most of this stuff disconnected. Oh, all right, there we go. And just disconnect that, disconnect the PS2 connector. So EBX is an interesting form factor, one that I've not really ever encountered before, but it actually seems to be somewhat of a standard. And what it says is that it's the same size as a 5 1/4 drive. So I just happen to have an old 5 1/4 floppy drive here. Desperate need of some cleaning, but I think this might illustrate a point of, yeah, look at that. It is the exact footprint of a 5 1/4 floppy drive. I mean, like down to the, even down to the length there. So potentially if I wanted to find a new case for this board, I could probably find something designed like a old external CD-ROM enclosure, something like that. Could be a different kind of a case for this board instead of that big metal case with all the rust. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. It kind of opens up a lot of possibilities. So anyway, I think that's probably it for now. I think we'll do some more exploration of this in the future, but for now, thanks for watching. We explored this little computer. It's pretty interesting that it works, and I think for 50 bucks off of eBay, we got a pretty good deal of hardware here. We got this motherboard that seems to be working fine, RAM, integrated CPU, a couple of PC-104 modules, working hard drive, and tons of connectivity. I mean, 4 serial ports, parallel port, all manner of things. And according to the manual, there's a good number of other things that we can connect up to these headers here. I think one of those is the floppy drive interface. It needs some sort of a cable for that. And yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting things we can do here. So I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.